Picture this. It's a Tuesday night, and your $3,000 refrigerator pushes a software update to itself in the middle of the night. Something in that update goes wrong. You wake up to a black screen on the door, no temperature display, no controls, nothing. You do what anyone would do, what the manual even tells you to do. You unplug it for a minute to reset it. Except it was mid-update when you pulled the plug, and now the screen never comes back. The technical word for what just happened is bricking. The computer that runs your fridge is now as useful as a brick, and here's the part that should stop you cold. On many of these machines, that same dead computer also controls the compressor. So, the screen is black, and the food is getting warm, and the cooling hardware behind it, which is mechanically perfect, won't turn on, because the brain telling it to run is gone. A new control board for that screen runs several $100s, has to be flashed with proprietary software, and not every technician in your town can even do it. Now here's the question this whole video is built around. The people who design these refrigerators and the technicians who repair them for a living, the ones who know exactly which part fails first, what do they buy for their own kitchens? Almost none of them buy the smart one. They go home to a fridge with a dial, because they understand something the showroom won't tell you. A smart fridge is a tablet bolted to a cooler, and the tablet is the part that dies. Today, we expose the 5 smart fridges engineers refuse to own, and the 5 dumb ones that simply never break. Number 1, on the dumb side, will outlast every smart fridge in this video, and cost you 1/4 of the price. But first, you need to understand why the word smart has become the most expensive word in your kitchen. Here's the thing nobody explains when you're standing in front of that glowing door. A refrigerator has 2 completely separate lifespans living inside one box. The first is the cooling hardware, the compressor, the coils, the sealed system, built well, that lasts 10, 15, 20 years. The second is the smart layer, the touchscreen, the cameras, the Wi-Fi module, the sensors, and the software tying them together. And that layer lasts 3 to 7 years. You are buying one appliance with 2 clocks inside it, and the expensive, fragile clock runs out first. When that smart layer dies, it doesn't fail quietly off to the side. On a lot of these fridges, the screen is the only way to change the temperature. So when it goes dark, you've lost control of your own refrigerator. And the failures are everywhere in the repair data. Frozen touchscreens, cameras that quit, Wi-Fi modules that drop, and the diagnostic nightmare technicians call the wrench fallacy a fridge that's running warm because a $5 temperature sensor is lying to the computer, except the tech replaces the several $100 compressor first, and the fridge is still warm. Complexity doesn't just add features, it adds wrong answers. And you can't simply opt out after the fact. People always ask the same hopeful question: if the smart part dies, won't it just become a normal fridge? Usually, no, because on many of these machines the smart board is the main control board. The temperature regulation, the defrost cycle, the fans, all of it routes through the same computer that runs the screen. When that board fails, you are not left with a dumb fridge. You are left with a dead one, waiting weeks on a several $100 proprietary part that a generic technician can't even source. A truly simple fridge fails gracefully, one cheap part at a time. A smart fridge fails catastrophically through the one expensive part that controls everything else. Then there's the part that should genuinely make you angry: software, support. A 2025 FTC report found that 89% of smart device makers don't even tell you how long they'll support the software. Consumer Reports looked at 21 smart appliance brands and found only 3 that guaranteed support for any specified length of time. GE's own license agreement says it'll support the software for 5 years after a product's release, or 2 years after you buy it, whichever is longer. Think about that. You bought a fridge expecting 15 years, and the company has told you, in writing, that the smart half of it might be abandoned in 2. When that support ends, features start throwing "service not available," and worse, an unpatched, internet-connected fridge becomes a security hole. Hijacked smart appliances get pulled into botnets. Authorities recently took down one network of over 3 million infected devices. Your fridge sending spam, mining crypto for a stranger. And while it's connected, it's watching. A smart fridge with cameras and usage tracking is a data collection device sitting in your kitchen logging when you open the door, what the internal cameras see, what you stock when you're home. That information flows back to the manufacturer, and the privacy terms governing it can be changed with the next software update, the same kind of update that can add ads. You bought a place to keep milk cold. You also installed a sensor the company can quietly monetize. And the final insult is the simplest one. Be honest about how many of these features you'd still be using in year 3. The camera you checked twice. The recipe app you opened once. The screen you now use to see the time. The smart fridge sells you 100 features and bets you'll forgive the cost because of the 3 you tried in the first week. So, with all of that in mind, here are the 5 worst offenders the smart fridges the people who build them won't bring home. Number 5. Frigidaire. Frigidaire is Electrolux's budget badge, and its smart and connected models are the worst of both worlds' entry on this list, because they take the one thing budget appliances genuinely have going for them, simplicity, and bolt a fragile smart layer onto a build that was already cut to a price. You get the connected app, the Wi-Fi alerts, the digital touch controls, sitting on top of thinner materials, cheaper sensors, and control boards that owners report failing in the 3 to 5 year window. So now you have 2 ways to fail, instead of 1. The budget hardware that was always going to wear early, and the smart electronics layered on top that wear even faster. When the touch panel on a budget fridge dies, the repair often costs a meaningful fraction of what the whole fridge cost new, which is the moment most people just buy another one. A cheap fridge should compete on being honest and simple. The second it goes smart, it gives up its only real advantage and keeps the price climbing. This is the worst version of the trade you pay for complexity you can't afford to repair. Number 4. Bosch. And this one I want to be careful with, because Bosch makes a genuinely excellent refrigerator in independent testing. Bosch's French door models post some of the best reliability scores in the entire category, thanks to a real dual compressor cooling system. That's exactly why it's on this list. The fridge underneath is great. The Home Connect smart layer on top of it is a tax you don't need. Every dollar and every failure point you add for app control, connectivity, and the connected ecosystem is a dollar and a failure point bolted onto a machine that was already doing its one job beautifully. Bosch is one of the more honest brands about long-term support, to its credit, but the lesson here isn't avoid Bosch, it's the opposite. Buy the Bosch. Buy the version without the screen and the connectivity. You keep the dual compressor cooling, the quiet operation, the build quality, and you drop the part most likely to fail and the premium attached to it. When even the best fridge on the market is better as a dumb fridge, that tells you everything about what smart is actually adding. It's adding to the price and the risk, not the refrigeration. Number 3. GE. GE earns a strange spot on this list because GE's basic refrigerators are genuinely reliable. You'll see GE again later on the good side of this video. But the GE Profile and Cafe Smart models, the ones with the big touchscreens and the connected platform, come with a catch. GE itself put in writing. GE's end-user license agreement states that it will provide software support for 5 years after a product's initial release, or 2 years after you purchase it, whichever is longer. So GE has formally reserved the right to stop updating the smart half of your fridge, while the cooling half is barely middle-aged. You pay the premium for the screen, the app, the connected features, and the company has contractually told you those features have an expiration date measured in a couple of years. Not the 15 you expect from the appliance. The cruelty of it is that GE knows how to build a fridge that lasts. The dumb GE down the showroom aisle will run for 2 decades. The Smart GE asks you to pay more for a feature set with a published shelf life. Buy the GE. Don't buy the GE with the screen. Quick thing before the top two: if this is already changing how you look at that wall of glowing fridge doors, subscribe. Every breakdown on this channel follows the part that actually fails, not the feature list on the sticker. No brand deals, no sponsorships, just the repair data and the price tags. Number 2. LG. LG builds the most seductive smart fridge in the showroom. The InstaView door that lights up when you knock twice, the ThinQ app, the signature line that opens its own door when you wave a foot at it. It is beautiful, and it is exactly the kind of machine a repair technician sees come back. Two things stack up here. First, the smart layer, the InstaView panel, the connected features, the sensors, is the same fragile, expensive-to-fix electronics layer as everyone else's, and LG has been notably vague about how long it commits to supporting the software. Second, and more serious, LG has a documented history with its linear compressors, the heart of the fridge, failing prematurely. A problem so well established that it drove a class action settlement and forced LG to extend compressor coverage to 10 years. So, with a high-end LG smart fridge, you're potentially exposed on both clocks at once: the smart layer that ages out fast and a cooling system with a known failure history. You're paying a premium price for the knock-to-see glass, and underneath the show is a machine that can fail at the screen and at the compressor. The light-up door is the best magic trick in the appliance store. A magic trick is exactly what it is. Number 1. Samsung The Family Hub. This is the fridge engineers point to when they explain why they'd never own one, and it has earned every bit of that reputation. The Family Hub is a refrigerator with a 21-inch tablet running on the door, a full touchscreen on Samsung's Tizen operating system, internal cameras, calendar sync, weather, streaming, the works, and it sells for between roughly $1,800 and $3,500. Start with the refrigerator itself, which has been the subject of years of complaints and a class action over its indoor ice maker freezing, clogging, and leaking, the single most failure-prone part on any fridge, made central to Samsung's design. In federal complaint data covering 2019 through 2021, Samsung refrigerators drew more complaints than any other manufacturer, hundreds of them, with many citing food spoiling when the fridge failed to hold temperature. Then add the giant screen with every failure mode we've covered, the bricking, the dead control board, the loss of temperature control when it goes dark. And then comes the part that turned this fridge into a symbol. In April of 2025, a senior Samsung executive publicly said the company had no plans to put ads on its appliance screens. 5 months later, in September 2025, Samsung confirmed it would begin rolling out promotions and curated advertisements onto Family Hub refrigerator screens in the United States, pushed out as a software update. Read that again. A software update, which Samsung controls, reached into refrigerators people already owned and started showing them ads on a $3,500 appliance. That is the purest possible illustration of the whole problem with a smart fridge. You don't fully own it. The company on the other end of that Wi-Fi connection can change what your fridge does after you've paid for it, and you can't say no. An ice maker that breaks, a screen that bricks, and a manufacturer that can beam ads onto your kitchen wall whenever it likes. That is why the Family Hub is number 1. That's the SmartSide 5 machines that charge you a premium to add the exact parts most likely to fail, age out, or get worse after you buy them. Now the dumb ones that simply refuse to break. But first, let's be clear about what dumb actually means, because it is not an insult, it's the whole strategy. A dumb fridge is a fridge that spent 100% of its budget on cooling and 0% on a screen, mechanical or simple digital controls, a dial you turn, and ideally, no indoor ice and water dispenser at all, because that dispenser, with its lines and valves and motor, is statistically the single most common thing to fail on any refrigerator, with roughly a third of fridges that have one developing a problem by year 5. Remove the screen, Remove the dispenser, and you have removed the two most failure-prone systems on the entire appliance. What's left is a compressor, a fan, a thermostat, and a light parts that any technician on Earth can diagnose with a basic meter and fix with a part that costs $40 and is in stock everywhere. A dumb fridge has nothing to update, nothing to brick, nothing to abandon, and nothing to advertise to you. It does one job for 20 years, and the only feature it ever loses is none. Run the 15-year math, because it is brutal. Take a $3,500 smart fridge that needs one control board replacement, around $600, loses its software support somewhere near year 5, and gets thrown out at year 10 when the screen finally bricks call it $4,000+ and a brand new fridge inside a single decade. Now take a $700 dumb fridge that runs 18 years on 1 or 2 $40 repairs. That is not a small difference in convenience. That is thousands of dollars and an extra decade of life, traded away for a screen you stopped looking at in month 3. Here are the 5 that do it best. Number 5. Amana. Amana is the cheapest, honest fridge in the store, and it earns its place by being gloriously, deliberately simple. A basic Amana top freezer runs around $600 to $800, about as little as you can spend on a new refrigerator with a real warranty. The secret is that Amana is a Whirlpool brand, so you're getting Whirlpool's proven cooling guts, stripped down to the essentials and sold without the premium markup. No screen, no Wi-Fi, no camera. On the simplest models, not even an indoor dispenser to fail, just a box that gets cold and stays cold. Because the internals are shared with Whirlpool's mainstream line, parts are everywhere and cheap, and any independent tech in the country can fix it without a proprietary laptop. It is the generic drug version of a refrigerator, identical active ingredient, none of the brand tax. You skip the gimmicks, keep the reliability, and spend the difference on literally anything else. Number 4. Maytag. Maytag's whole identity is the dependable machine, and in the fridge aisle the brand actually leans into it, heavier builds, simpler layouts, and a focus on the cooling doing its job for the long haul. Maytag is also a Whirlpool brand, which means the same deep proven parts network behind it, and the same easy repairability when something eventually wears. What you're buying with a simple Maytag is a fridge that feels substantial, runs on straightforward controls, and isn't trying to be a computer. The 10-year limited parts warranty Maytag advertises on a lot of its machines isn't a gimmick. It's a brand betting that the boring mechanical core will hold up. Skip the versions loaded with screens and connectivity, and buy the plain one, and you get a dependable, repairable workhorse that'll quietly outlast every family hub in the neighborhood. It won't talk to you. That's the entire appeal. Number 3. Sub-Zero. This is the premium pick that earns the word, and it's the dumb fridge philosophy taken to its absolute extreme. Sub-Zero builds refrigerators in Wisconsin, in a company that's still independent and family-owned, and it engineers and tests them to last 20 years or more, roughly double the industry average. Repair techs routinely service Sub-Zeros that are 30 years old and still running. The engineering is the real thing. A dual compressor system that keeps the fridge and freezer in separate stable climates, industrial-grade materials, and a sealed system warranted out to 12 years. Yes, it costs the most on this list, by a wide margin. But notice what you're not paying for. You're not paying for a 21-inch tablet that bricks, or a software platform that gets abandoned, or ads beamed onto your kitchen. You're paying for the cooling, built to a standard almost nothing else matches, in a machine engineered to outlive the kitchen it's installed in. If you must have connectivity at the high end, Miele is worth a mention here too. It's one of the very few brands that promises security updates beyond 10 years. But the Sub-Zero lesson is the cleaner one. Spend the money on refrigeration that lasts, not on a screen that won't. Number 2. GE. Here's the other half of the GE story. Because while the Smart Cafe and Profile models earned a spot on the villain list, GE's straightforward refrigerators are genuinely some of the most reliable you can buy. In the big, independent surveys and the real-world service data, GE's basic and mid-range fridges post strong reliability and among the lowest problem rates in the category, and GE has a comparatively better reputation than its rivals for actually supporting and standing behind its appliances. Buy a GE top freezer or a simple French door without the giant screen, and you're getting solid American market engineering, a wide and cheap parts network, and a machine built to run for 15+ years. This is the cleanest demonstration of the entire thesis in a single brand. The same company makes a smart fridge with a published software expiration date and a dumb fridge that'll outlive your mortgage. Same logo, same showroom, wildly different lifespans. The screen is the difference. Skip the screen. Number 1. Whirlpool. The dumb top freezer Whirlpool is the answer to this entire video, and it's almost funny how unglamorous it is. Repair technicians, the people who see which fridges actually come back, name Whirlpool one of the most reliable and the single easiest to fix, because the brand runs simple, proven, repairable engineering backed by the largest parts and service network in the country. A basic Whirlpool top freezer costs somewhere around $700 to $900. It has mechanical controls, a compressor refined across decades of enormous production volume, and on the simplest models, no dispenser and no screen to fail. When something eventually wears out, and it'll take years, the part is in stock at every supply house in America, and cheap enough that you fix it instead of replacing it. And here is the line that ends the whole argument. That $700 Whirlpool, the boring one with the knob, will still be quietly running 15 or 20 years from now, long after the $3,500 Family Hub screen has gone dark, its software has been abandoned, and its ads have stopped loading. Same job, a fifth of the price, 3 times the lifespan. When the goal is a refrigerator that just works for 2 decades, this is exactly where the smart money goes into the dumb fridge. Across all 10 of these machines, one pattern holds, and it's the simplest idea in this entire series. A refrigerator has one job: keep food cold for as long as possible, and every part that doesn't serve that job is a part that can fail, age out, get abandoned, or be turned against you. The smart fridges load up on exactly those parts and charge you a premium for the privilege. The dumb ones strip them away and put the whole budget into the one clock that matters. The engineers who design these and the technicians who repair them aren't anti-technology. They just know which part fails first, and they refuse to pay extra for it. That's why they go home to a fridge with a dial. And understand what that ad rollout really proved, because it is bigger than Samsung. It proved that a connected appliance is never finished being sold to you. The purchase isn't the end of the transaction. It's the start of a relationship where the company keeps a channel open into your kitchen and can change the deal whenever it likes. Add ads, drop a feature, end support. Raise the stakes on a machine you already paid for in full. A dumb fridge closes that channel the instant you plug it in. There is no one on the other end, because there is no other end. It answers to you and the wall socket and to nobody else on earth. So when you're standing in that showroom, in front of the glowing doors and the knock-to-see glass and the screen playing a recipe video, ask yourself 2 questions. Will I actually use this in year 3? And what happens to it when the company stops caring? And here's how you find the right one on the floor. In about 30 seconds. Look for a top freezer or a plain bottom freezer, not a 4-door showpiece. Look for a dial or simple buttons, not a screen. Skip the indoor ice and water dispenser if you can live without it, because that is the single most common thing to break on any fridge. And check the price tag. The right answer is usually one of the cheapest refrigerators in the entire building, which is the most counterintuitive sentence in this whole video. Then walk past all of it to the plain box at the end of the aisle with a dial on the front and no Wi-Fi password to forget. It can't show you the weather. It can't play you an ad. It'll just keep your food cold for 20 years and never ask you for a thing. Which one surprised you most, the smart fridge that started showing ads, or the dumb one that outlives them all? Drop it in the comments. And if this saved you $3,000 and a black screen at midnight, subscribe. We follow the part that actually breaks, every single time.